A very good morning and Jai Hind, dear students. How are you all? Okay, I hope you all are fine, doing great. Dear students, we have already discussed a chapter in the Kingdom of the Fools. I have already given you this chapter during your summer break vacations, and yesterday in Zoom class I found that some of you have really done it very nicely, but some of you disappointed me by saying that ma'am, we have not done this work, we have not read this chapter. Students, I want you to please be very very serious, because this work was given to you in the month of June, and in August you are telling me that it's not been done by you. So it's quite disappointing. Okay. Yesterday we had a discussion in which I have shown you a PPT of the chapter. Now students, let us quickly have a discussion about the characters. Okay. So how many characters are there in the story, and what are their character traits that we are going to discuss today. So in the Kingdom of the Fools, written by A.K. Ramanujan, and the very first character in the chapter is the Guru. Guru. As yesterday we had a very good discussion, interactive session regarding all this. So I just quickly want to have a recap that the Guru was a very wise man who never succumbed to any temptation. He never succumbed to any temptation. Now, succumbed means, what is the meaning of the word succumbed here? Succumbed means fail to resist pressure, temptation, or some other negative force. So he was having a strong willpower and determination, and he was never succumbed. He was never got attracted to any temptation. He was quick to judge that his disciple and he were in the kingdom of fools. Very quickly he judged it when they entered, when he saw that people are sleeping during the daytime and they are walking in the night. Then and there only he realized that they have entered in the kingdom of fools. Knowing that the behavior of foolish people is unpredictable, he decided to leave the city immediately. He did not get tempted like his disciple did by the one Dudu prize for everything in that kingdom. He also knew that a foolish person should be tackled wisely. So that's why he is called Guru. Yesterday, you remember, we have discussed about Dudu. Dudu was that currency they were using over there, and everything was very cheap in that town, in that city, in that kingdom. Everything you can get for one Dudu. So that was the reason disciple decided to stay in that. Okay. But Guru, he knew that a foolish person should be tackled wisely. He did not try to reason with the king regarding the innocence of his disciple. Instead, he flattered the king with false praise. He knew, if I'm going to, tell, or I'm going to question the king, again, he's not going to understand anything because he's a fool. So what he did, he flattered the king. They played a trick. No, you remember, yesterday we had a discussion. Yes. So he flattered the king with the false praise and obtained the freedom of both his disciple and the kingdom. He earns readers' appreciation for his intelligence and presence of mind. Okay. So that was about Guru. Now the second main character in the story was the disciple. How was the disciple? Yesterday we had a discussion. He was greedy. You told me he was greedy. Some of you told me he was a food freak. Of course. Now let us read. The disciple was a simple but greedy fellow, remember. He followed his guru everywhere and listened to him. However, once he could not resist the temptation of good and cheap food available in the kingdom of fools. He did not pay heed. What does it mean, heed? Beta, you should start using all these words in writing. Heed means attention. Heed means attention. So he did not pay heed to his guru's warning and stayed back. His greed almost cost him his life. How? Tell me. Yes, because he was caught up by those soldiers to put to the stake. You remember? Yes, so that's why his greed almost cost him his life, but he quickly regained sense. He started remembering his guru. You remember? Yes, so he quickly regained sense means he quickly realized the problematic situation. He had faith in his guru's power. That is why he first recalled him in his thoughts and then behaved according to the plan devised by him. What is this device? This word devise means devised by him means planned by him or drawn up by him, or you can say conceived by him, or you can say come up with. That is all known as devised. So this character also brings a smile to the reader by the manner in which he grows fat after eating what? Bananas, rice, wheat and ghee. So he ate everything for one to do and he became fat and plumpy. Okay, so that was our second character. Now let us quickly discuss about the third character. The next character in the story was the king. How was the king? So quickly let us have a look. The king was a fool who owned a beautiful kingdom. He could go to any length in order to be different from others. He could go to any length means he can do anything to be different from others. Okay, may it be a foolish thing. Okay, may it be a foolish thing also. His orders were foolish and his ideas stupid, turning day into night and ordering execution of those who disobeyed are examples of his silliness, his pettiness, his foolishness. The king had no idea about justice. He doesn't know how to do justice. It was there in the chapter. The crime was done by somebody else and he was punishing somebody else. So he had no idea about justice. Assuring the thief's brother that justice would be done and terming the thief's death as murder indicate his lack of knowledge about justice. The king did not have any sound sense of judgment about people either. He could not see that the guru was flattering him to rescue his disciple. He could not make it out. See what kind of a king he was. He could not make it out that somebody is making fool of him. His gullible disposition led him to believe every word uttered by the guru and ended up getting executed by his own men. So that was all about our king's character in the chapter. Okay, so dear students, now let us quickly move to the other important things of the chapter. Okay, so now next come the minister. So let us quickly have a look on the character sketch of the minister. The king's foolishness was rivaled only by his minister, who was equal. Okay, so students, there is a word rivaled. Rivaled means seem to be equal or comparable to, means they both were equally foolish. Who? King and the minister both. Partner in the foolish orders passed by the king. The king consulted him, the minister, on different matters, but the minister could never give any sane advice. Okay, sane means, what does this word mean? Sane means any sensible advice. The minister never gave any sensible or any reasonable or any sound advice. Okay, he would be as irrational as the king himself. It was the minister's idea to find a fat man who fitted the stake so that the order of execution could be put through. when they did not find, when they find that the rich merchant is too thin to fit to that stake, minister gave this idea that some other person who is fat, that person should be put to the stake for the execution. So that was minister's idea in the chapter. Okay, the killing of the minister does not rouse any sympathy, for he was a dumb character who was responsible for his own death. So this was the character sketch of the minister. So I hope till here it's clear to everybody. Now let us move to the other important parts of this chapter. Okay, so now let us quickly have a look about the theme of the chapter. So what is the theme? As we already had a discussion about the theme in our Zoom class, but still I want you to quickly have a look on this. The story, what is that story? In the Kingdom of the Fools is based on the theme that foolish people are unpredictable. You never know what they are going to do next, okay, and can be very dangerous. So one must stay away from them even if they offer benefit for some time. Okay, the disciple got tempted by the availability of all items for one to do and stayed in the kingdom of fools in spite of warning by his wise guru. Had the guru not returned to rescue him, the disciple would have had to pay for his temptation through his life. So that was the theme. Okay, that was the theme. Now let us quickly have a look on the title and the message given by this chapter. So okay, in the Kingdom of Fools is a story about a kingdom ruled by a foolish king and his silly minister. So the title is very much appropriate. The people too are foolish, for they obey the most ridiculous orders passed by their king. The entire action of the story takes place in this kingdom. The reason that make this place a kingdom of fools are well exemplified by the episodes in which innocent people are caught one after the other in the name of justice. So, what do you think? What I think is the title stands justified and appropriate in every way. Now, dear students, let us quickly have a look on the message. The story is a folk tale. It is a Kannada folk tale, okay? Kannada. And gives two messages. The first message is that, what is the first message? The first message is that one should stay away from foolish people. Else what will happen? Else one is bound to suffer. You know, I told you in my Zoom class also that maybe you are intelligent, but if you stay in the company of the foolish people, then you have to suffer the consequences. Okay? The second message is that in order to tackle foolish people, one should employ wisdom and not logic. The guru does not argue or reason the innocence of his disciple. Rather, he flatters the king and manages to convince him that the new stake was lucky. He not only saves the life of his disciple, but also rids means to make free. Okay? So he also rids the kingdom of the foolish king and his silly minister. In addition, he becomes the next king and his disciple the next minister. Okay, so that was the message and the appropriateness of the title. Let me quickly tell you the summary also in short. Though we have already read the chapter, we have already discussed it, but still, for those who have not read this chapter yet, for them I am just quickly telling a summary in very short. So, what was there in the chapter? There was a kingdom of fools where both the king and his minister were idiots. In an attempt to be different from others, they foolishly took the decision to change night with day and vice versa. Vice versa means day with night. Hence, the people in this kingdom would do all their work like tiling the fields or running their business at night, and all would sleep when the sun rose up. Those who disobeyed were threatened with death punishment. So everyone followed this foolish practice. One day, a guru and his disciple visited this kingdom and were surprised to find the whole kingdom asleep during the day. When night came, people began their routine activities. The two men had become very hungry by this time. So they went to a grocery shop. It was utterly surprising for them to see that everything had the same cost, a single dudu. Initially, they were both happy as they could buy all that they wanted for a very nominal amount. However, the guru, being a wise man, decided to leave the place and told his disciple that the behavior of fools cannot be predicted and it was not safe to stay there for long. But the disciple decided to stay back and the guru alone left the city. One day, a thief broke into a rich merchant's house by making a hole in the wall. However, when he was leaving after the loot, the wall of the old house fell on his head and killed him instantly. The thief's brother complained to the king that the merchant was to be blamed for his death and should hence be punished. The foolish king assured him of justice and summoned the merchant. The king told the merchant that he would be punished for having murdered the man who burgled his house. Burgled means who has come to steal the things. Okay? The merchant was a wise man and escaped punishment by telling the king that the wall had been built in his father's time. So the bricklayer who built such a weak wall was responsible for the thief's death and should get the punishment. The bricklayer too wisely evaded means come out from the punishment, and put the blame on the dancing girl. He claimed that he got distracted by her jingling anklets when she went up and down the street on the day the wall was built by him. The dancing girl, in her turn, shifted the blame to the goldsmith. She said that she had to walk up and down the street many times because the goldsmith had delayed her order. The goldsmith defended himself by pleading that he could not complete the dancing girl's order in time because he had to first finish a rich merchant's order. This rich merchant was the father of the same person on whom the blame was put earlier. So, the rich merchant was summoned again. He pleaded his innocence on the ground that the jewelry had been ordered by his father. But the foolish king told the merchant that he had inherited his father's sins in the same way as he had got his wealth. Hence, he must be executed for the killing of the burglar. So, dear students, what happened? A new stake was ordered by the king for the execution. However, moments before the killing, the minister observed that the merchant was too thin for the new stake. So it was decided to find a person who fitted the stick. The disciple who had gone fat after eating bananas, rice, wheat, and ghee for days was caught up to be killed in place of the merchant. He pleaded that he was a sannyasi and had not done anything wrong, but the king's man did not listen to him. He was reminded of his Guru, and while waiting for death, he prayed to him in his heart for help. The Guru had magical powers and he saw everything in a vision. He arrived at once to save his disciple. He first scolded the Okay, so the Guru he arrived to save his disciple. He first scolded the disciple and then whispered something in his ears. Then, admiring the king for his wisdom, the Guru urged him to put him to death in place of his disciple. The disciple at once understood the Guru's move and insisted on being put to death earlier than his Guru. This behavior puzzled the king. He asked the Guru to explain the reason behind the desire to get executed first. The Guru asked the king to promise him that if he told him the reason, he would put him, whom? Guru, to die earlier than the disciple. The king assured him, and the Guru, taking the king aside, told that the stake was the stake of the God of justice. It was new and no crime had ever been put on it. Hence, whoever dies first will be reborn as the king, and the next person will be reborn as the minister. This information put the king in deep thought. He discussed the matter with his minister and they decided to go to the stake themselves. The minister told the executioners that the criminals to be punished would be sent at night. They should be killed one after the other without any mistake. At night, the king and his minister secretly went to the prison and set free the Guru and his disciple. Then they disguised themselves as the two criminals and were executed as per their revised orders. When their bodies were taken down to be thrown to the crows and vultures, people panicked. The city got confused. They mourned all night and finally went to the Guru and begged him and his disciple to be their king and minister. The disciple agreed easily, but the Guru agreed on the condition that they would be allowed to change the old laws. And what was the old law, dear students? That night should be treated as day and day should be treated as night. Then on, night and day began to be used in their normal way, and the price of all things no longer remained 1 dudu each. So, dear students, this was the summary of our chapter in the kingdom of the fools. So, I hope now the chapter must be clear to everyone. I will be sending question answers in the form of PDF to all of you. Dear students, do study hard. Do not step out unless it's really necessary. Take proper precautions as the number of corona patients are increasing in our surroundings also. So be careful. In fact, tell your parents also to be very careful and to take all the necessary precautions which are required to fight this deadly disease. So I will see you in my next video. Till then, take very good care of yourself. Bye bye. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.